Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. Boko Haram's disputed leader Abubakar Shekau has appeared in a new video vowing to fight on. He shrugged off an apparent split in the jihadist group. He also threatened to attack the Nigerian military and its leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, at the presidential villa in Abuja. Just last week, Shekau said in an audio message that he was still the head of the Boko Haram group despite his purported replacement by Sheikh Abu Musab al-Banawi, who is a former Boko Haram spokesperson. In the new video, he is seen wearing a camouflage gear and holding a machine gun, standing between two Islamist fighters armed with rocket-propelled grenade launchers. He taunted President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and condemned Western countries, including the United States, France, Germany. Boko Haram has killed some 10,000 people since 2009 and also kidnapped hundreds of people, including women and children. Suspected militants have killed 3 joint task force members in Nembe, Bayelsa State, southern Nigeria. The JTF members were attached to the Operation Delta Safe, which is a joint military force responsible for dealing with security threats by militant groups in the Niger Delta region. Reports say the suspected militants ambushed the JTF members at the Nembe waterway checkpoint. Attacks by militant groups in the Niger Delta has pushed crude production in Nigeria to 30-year lows in recent weeks. The militants have called for a greater share of Niger's oil wealth, which accounts for around 70% of the nation's income, to be passed on to the region's communities and for authorities to clean up areas blighted by oil spills. Former President Goodluck Jonathan says the movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta wants to assassinate him. He was, however, silent on those who contracted the group to kill him. In a statement released by his media aide Ikechukwu Eze, Jonathan also denied claims that he was behind a new group called the Reformed Niger Delta Avengers. Over the weekend, the RNDA said former President Goodluck Jonathan had appealed to them to stop the attacks on oil installations in the Niger Delta region. This led to speculations that maybe the president was behind the group, a claim he has now denied. President Jonathan was Niger's former president until he was defeated by Muhammadu Buhari in the March 2015 general elections. The Niger Delta Avengers, a militant group in Nigeria's oil-rich region, has distanced itself from another group which claims it broke away from it. The Avengers took to their new Twitter handle to announce that the new group called Reformed Niger Delta Avengers had never been part of them. The disclaimer comes after the RNDA said that it had decided to split from the Avengers after former President Goodluck Jonathan appealed to them to stop attacks on oil installations in Nigeria's South-South region. The Niger Delta Avengers is a militant group that has claimed responsibility for a chain of attacks on oil pipelines in Nigeria. This has not only affected the nation's economy negatively, but also neighboring countries in West Africa. In spite of appeals from various stakeholders in Nigeria and foreign bodies, the group has refused to dialogue with the Nigerian government. Former Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, and current Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike have both denied having links with the militant group, the Niger Delta Avengers. A new report published in the media had alleged that both men were among the sponsors of the group, which has claimed responsibility for the spate of attack on oil and gas installations in the restive region. However, Akpabio has rubbished those reports, describing it as a politically motivated propaganda. One Wike described it as false media propaganda. Nigeria's Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has ordered the immediate closure of the damaged Apapa Bridge for emergency maintenance work to begin. The bridge links Nigeria's premier port to both the Lagos mainland and the Lagos Island. Addressing a stakeholders meeting in Lagos State, Fashola said the closure of the bridge was a necessary measure as it would save lives and prevent avoidable mishaps.
We are shutting the bridge so that there is no further accident. And whatever our inconvenience is, I think that if we are inconvenienced, we still have life. I don't want us to come back here to come and recover any dead bodies. And I think we can achieve that with the cooperation that we have. Manage our use of the road as best we can. Don't get on the road if you don't have to at this time. Whatever business you can do by text, by telephone, by email, please do so. That is why those facilities also exist, so that the number of people who are on the road are only those who need to be on the road. And again, I'm going to appeal to the unions, tankers and maritime container movers. Please, by your own self-arrangement and cooperation with the state government, we can walk through this successfully without adversely affecting the larger economy, either by extra cost of delivery of a container and goods, which are passed on to people at a time when the economy can ill afford that, or shortages of fuel simply because you have to make a diversion. I think this is the time for you to also step up and take responsibility, and let us work together to get out of this unforeseen disaster that we must deal with.
Meanwhile, Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation says the government supports the minister's decision to shut the bridge. Speaking to newsmen after the stakeholders meeting, he said the closure of the bridge will enable construction work to begin on the bridge.
We don't want to inconvenience people too much. And when we have physical barriers, as we have on the service lane right now, we have to make sure that the service lane is clear of all encumbrances. We are going to remove all the trucks there. That is going to start immediately. The union have promised us that they are going to do that. And then Julius Baja will start the palliative measures tomorrow and then clear it as well. But the issue is, should we close it tomorrow or should we close it today? The issue is, life cannot be replaced. So it's better we close it today and bear the consequences of inconveniences for another maybe one day. And that is why we have made the decision between the state government and the federal government to close it instantly, because the damage there is one that is a disaster waiting to happen if we do not close it immediately.
It is a very good approach on the part of the federal government. And let's also appreciate the effort of the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing. When you get to the site, we will also look it critically and observe that that bridge cannot stand the test of the time right now. And it is even better to protect life than to allow it to be lost. So it's a good approach, very good proactiveness on the part of the government. We love it, though it's going to create a lot of bottleneck and also create some inconveniences for some of our members. But it's better that way than to allow them to lose their life. We are going to partner with the government and all the security agencies to ensure that we cooperate with the government.
Nigerian lawyer and second vice president of the Niger Bar Association, Anika Chobani, has launched his foundation. The Anika Chobani Foundation was launched in Lagos State, southwest Nigeria, with an appeal to wealthy Nigerians to support the less privileged in the society. Obani says the society will continue to breed miscreants if those who are wealthy do not come to the assistance of the poor and less privileged. It was an event called to raise funds for a noble cause, and the turnout was quite impressive, with politicians and professionals from all walks of life present at the occasion. Among the top dignitaries is Uche Oga, the man at the center of the governorship tussle in Abia State, who has since been issued a certificate of return as the duly elected governor of the state. Representing President Muhammadu Buhari at the event, his spokesperson Femi Adesina, he commended the vision of the foundation and read the president's personal letter to the initiator of the foundation.
It is significant that the foundation is dedicated to helping the poor and needy in the society, and is also out to celebrate those who have made our country proud with virtuous acts. This I heartily commend and recommend to other well-off Nigerians. I'm very pleased that the foundation launch will be marked by a public lecture, which topic focuses on one of the things dearest to the heart of this administration, the anti-corruption war. Barrister Obani, you have decided to improve other people's lives in your own little way. Very inspiring. If this is the heartbeat of more privileged Nigerians, then the burdens of government will be a lot lightened. I wish you a very successful lunch, a most illuminating lecture, and a happy birthday.
Guest speaker at the occasion, Segun Oloketuyi, the managing director of Wema Bank, who represented the general overseer of Lateran Assembly, Pastor Tunde Bakare, addressed the gathering on the challenges of corruption in Nigeria and why it must be fought to a standstill.
In Nigeria, officials are not only corrupt, corruption is official. For instance, given the unbridled looting of the treasury at the time, reportedly to the tune of $1 billion, as was subsequently uncovered following the exit of the military, it was obvious that the abnormal had become the norm, the illegal had become legal, the outrageous had become banal, and the aberrant had become the gold standard. Through 17 years of civil governance, the stench of corruption has continued to pollute the national atmosphere and to attract the derision of the international community. Despite the emergence of a new government on the heels of a strong anti-corruption campaign, despite the credence lent to this anti-corruption promise by the antecedents of President Muhammadu Buhari, and despite the global acknowledgement that Nigeria has taken shovel loads off the peak of this mountain of faith, the stench of corruption remains fantastically horrible, with the rest of the world turning their noses away in disgust and in derision.
Among the highlight of the event is the launch of the foundation brochure. For Onyeka Chobani, the launch of the foundation is a personal mission to tackle poverty in society and give the less privileged a chance to overcome their struggles.
Majority of our brothers and sisters are hungry and under the siege of poverty, lack and deprivation. This is the story we go through every day, from Monday to Sunday. This scenario is worse on Fridays and Sundays in our mosques and churches, respectively. We must do something because there is really no option for us as individuals, institutions, or as a nation. In these trying times, a little help goes a long way for the poor and the less privileged in our society. That little seed you sow in the life of one in distress, at the time is needed, goes a long way in serving a soul, a neighborhood, a community, and our country at large. This is what I have been doing in my personal capacity, and the gratitude by each beneficiary never ceases to overwhelm me each time that my little intervention saves a life. This is what the Onyeka Chobani Foundation is all about.
What the Bible says is that whoever you're able to assist is your neighbor, you know. And that is what he has tried to do. He's been doing this for a while, but along the line, I think God laid it in his mind to now formalize it through this foundation.
We are quite impressed by this initiative because it is targeting exactly the class of people that the government body administration is also targeting, which are the downtrodden and those that really need the help of government. Because we know that the rich and well-to-do, yeah, they must be supported, but they are not the weak in the society. A lot of the time they can take care of themselves, and we will continue to support them. But the priority of government is to help the weak and the poor and those that cannot make ends meet.
The Onyeka Chobani Foundation is dedicated to helping the poor in the society, irrespective of their tribe or religion. Even before this formal launch, the foundation has since set out on its mission to bring relief to the very poor in the society. The former chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation, Abdulmumun Jibrin, has continued his attacks on the Speaker of the House of Rep, Yakubu Dogara. On Sunday, he said he had identified 2 governors working to shield Dogara from prosecution over the budget padding scandal rocking the lower legislative chamber. He also vowed not to withdraw his corruption charges against the Speaker, saying they were too grievous to be swept under the carpet. Jibrin started slamming allegations of corruption against Dogara and other members of the House leadership when he was removed as a chairman of the Appropriations Committee last month, despite an order from his party, the All Progressives Congress, to stop the public accusations. Jibrin has continued to reveal more details. Still on the budget padding scandal, the National Association of Nigerian Students have stated their support for Yakubu Dogara, who is the Speaker of Niger's House of Reps. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, the nation's capital, they called on members of the House to shun all forms of the allegations being leveled against the Speaker.
May we also draw the attention of the discerning public to the fact that the House of Representatives gave her full cooperation to the executive to the executive in the passage of the 2006 Appropriation Act and did not place any form of encumbrance for personal pecuniary purposes. Thus, the budget which the House passed were that assented by the President without any further insertion. We cannot but wholly agree that the Speaker Yakubu Dogara fully supported President Muhammadu Buhari's drive to transform governance and develop Nigeria to have full potential for the benefit of all citizens. Honorable members should avoid this unhelpful bickering and concentrate on delivering democracy, dividends to Nigerians, which they were doing before this self-inflicted crisis. We shall therefore mobilize Nigerian students from campuses across Federation to welcome Mr. Speaker on the 12th September 2016 when the House resumed from recesses.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has called for the resignation of Yakubu Dogara for saying that budget padding was not an offense. Speaking after a meeting with the president on Friday, Dogara has insisted that he would not resign because, according to him, budget padding was not an offense in the Nigerian law. However, SERAP in a statement has faulted those claims and demanded the immediate resignation of the Speaker. Dogara is currently facing allegations that he tried to pad the 2016 budget with as much as 40 billion naira. The National Iron Ore Mining Company Limited in Itakwe, Kogi State has resumed activities after federal government and Globe Steel Holdings Limited signed a new agreement to restore the mining company. The sole administrator and chief executive officer of National Iron Ore Mining Company Limited, Bernard Naha, in an interview with TV360 said the agreement would help the country as it seeks to diversify the economy away from oil.
It is a milestone achievement. You know, Global Infrastructure Nigeria Limited had a concession agreement between 2005 and 2008. An agreement was terminated, and since that period, a period of 8 years, the Jupiter Steel Company and National Iron Ore Mining Company have been idle. So the decision of the government has been well received by all stakeholders. This opportunity will give Global Infrastructure Nigeria Limited to redress the mistakes of the past and then rehabilitate all the facilities at Nyoko and boost production from the present situation to the design stage of 2.15 million tons of iron ore concentrate annually. And this will entail the mining of over 7 million tons of iron ore from the Itakwe mine. And they have also promised to increase the production to 2.8 million tons per annum, and then in the third phase to 5 million tons. That entails a lot of activities.
Now the work has started on the 3rd.
The due diligence exercise commenced on the 3rd, and we intend to carry out a serious due diligence exercise that will eventually lead to the rehabilitation, upgrading, and modernization of National Iron Ore Mining Company at Itakwe. It is necessary to state that a lot of cooperation is needed for the due diligence exercise to be completed. We have received all the cooperation that is needed for the exercise, and we hope that our consultants, Shandong Metallurgical Engineering Corporation of Limited, will carry out the exercise diligently.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday left Abuja for N'Djamena to attend the inauguration of President Idris Deby of Chad. President Buhari would be joining other heads of states and government for the ceremony. Chad is one of the major countries collaborating with Nigeria to wage an intense offensive against the Boko Haram sect. Both countries, including Cameroon and Niger, also have military agreements, the multinational joint task force, aimed at ending the free movement of Boko Haram terrorists along their borders. President Muhammadu Buhari would be accompanied on the one-day trip by Abdullahi Ganduje and Kashim Shettima, governors of Kano and Borno states respectively. The president's delegation will also include Senator Babakaka Garba, Tahir Mongono, Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema, as well as the National Security Advisor Babagana Mongono. Oba Yusha Osheni, the traditional ruler of Iba town in Lagos State, Niger Southwest, has been released from captivity after spending over 20 days with his kidnappers. Police authorities in Lagos confirmed this over the weekend. Fatai Owosheni, who is the commissioner of police in Lagos State, said the traditional ruler is now back in his palace. The monarch was kidnapped in his palace on Saturday, July 16, 2016. 3 people were killed in the process. Time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Don't go away.
That was a very good business. Yeah. The furniture you brought was very perfect.
But that's how we roll.
Let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much was it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no! I just do business like that now. Yeah.
In that case, give me back my check. Let me go and look for someone that understand business.
Take.
Your loss.
It is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
Now get out.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No,
you will die.
That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people. Make not really add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. The gap between Nigeria's official and black market currency rates is once again widening. This comes 6 weeks since the country introduced a supposedly market-driven system in an attempt to aid the ailing economy. After falling steadily all last week, the naira hit 400 naira against the dollar in the black market on Friday and was trading at 398 against the dollar on Monday. That was about 25% weaker than the interbank rate of 319 naira and the weakest level for the naira since the CBN abandoned its 16-month currency peg in June. Oil prices rose on Monday, lifted by reports of renewed talks by some members of OPEC to restrain output. U.S. crude futures were trading at $41.99 per barrel, while U.S. crude was trading at $44.42 per barrel, up 15 cents. The price rise came on the back of renewed calls by some OPEC members to freeze production in a bid to rein in output. oil output has been consistently outpacing demand in the global market. A bomb blast has killed at least 60 people at a hospital in the city of Quetta in southwest Pakistan. Dozens of people were injured in the attack, which happened at the entrance to the emergency department, where the body of a prominent lawyer shot dead earlier on Monday was being brought. The casualties included lawyers and journalists accompanying the body of Bilal Anwar Kasi. Pakistani police say they suspect the bomb was detonated by a suicide attacker. Meanwhile, no group has claimed responsibility for the attack. The United States has proposed that the United Nations Security Council authorize a 4,000-strong force to ensure peace in South Sudan's capital of Juba. The U.S. urged the global body to threaten to impose an arms embargo on South Sudan if the transitional government does not cooperate with the plan. Heavy fighting involving tanks and helicopters erupted in Juba for several days last month between troops loyal to President Salva Kiir and those backing former Vice President Riek Machar. This has now raised fears of a return to full-scale civil war in the world's newest nation, as over 300 people were killed in the unrest. The protection force will be part of UN peacekeeping mission in South Sudan, which has been on the ground since the country gained independence from Sudan in 2011. Brazilian football legend Pele has postponed his visit to Niger due to health reasons. The soccer star was initially scheduled to be in Nigeria on August 11th and 12th as part of a program organized by the Win Him Jemide series and the Youth Experience Days Africa. But in a statement issued on Monday, the organizers say the 75-year-old could no longer make the trip due to an ill health, which also forced him to miss the reopening ceremony of the Rio Olympic Games held on Friday last week. The organizers say a new date will be announced in due time. Nigeria's under-23 national team, Dream Team 6, have advanced to the quarterfinal of the Rio 2016 football tournament after defeating European champions Sweden 1-0 in their second group game. The only goal of the game was scored by AS Roma Sadiq Umar just after the half-hour mark. The Dream Team 6 are now has 6 points following their opening group victory over Japan. They become the second side to qualify for the quarterfinal after Portugal. The team's last group game is against Colombia on August 10th, and that game kickoff is scheduled to hold for 11 p.m. Nigerian time. Nigeria's basketball team, the Tigers, lost their opening group in the Olympics basketball event, falling to 944-66 loss to gold medal favorites Argentina. Manu Ginobili of the NBA San Antonio Spurs added 12 points, and the Brooklyn Nets' Luis Scola added 18 points to demolish the Nigerian team. The more experienced Argentines proved too much for the African champions. Nigeria was led by Ikechukwu Diogu, 15 points and 13 rebounds, and 14 points from Ebi Ere. We've come to the end of News Now. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Thelma Ukuru.